Welcome back to Alkaline TV. This is Douglas Dennis, the Alkaline Chef. Today we're making alkaline fruitcake, vegan fruitcake. One of you asked me for an alkaline fruitcake recipe in the comments, and here it is. And thank you so much for the feedback. If you want to see anything in particular, let me know in the comments section. First, I put half a package of dried cherries. Those were from Trader Joe's. And then I used half the package of wild dried blueberries. And these were all from Trader Joe's. And I used half of the bag of organic dried figs. I had to chop these up first. Look at those. And then I used half of another package of dried dates. And I had two different types of dates, but these ones were more dry and firm. And then I used that giant jug of agave that I got at the bulk order in my other video. Check that out if you want bulk gallons of agave. And I just filled it to cover the top of the fruit, and then heated it up and brought it to a boil. Now I would have used a larger pan, but I didn't have one handy. So I had to keep, this was on low, and I had to keep turning it off, letting it cool a little bit. And I brought this to a boil probably 3 times. And I would have just let it simmer, but it was overflowing. Now this is to rehydrate the dried fruit with agave. And then I drained it and I saved that agave because that's pretty expensive and precious. And with all these fruit essences in it, it turned out quite amazing. I added it to a spelt cookie. Check the channel for the recipe for that, and that was quite good while I wait, because I have to let these sit. And that is key lime juice and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then I let these sit in the fridge overnight, and then continue the recipe the next day. So these candied fruit took a lot of time, but this is the next day. This is the rest of the cherries that I didn't candy, so that's the other half of the bag. This is the other half bag of wild blueberries.
The other half is in the candy.
And I just was measuring it just because I was curious. So it was about almost a cup of each.
Actually, wow. The Brazil nuts.
Brazil nuts.
That's pretty much the rest.
A cup of Brazil nuts. And then I chopped them myself. In they go. Now a cup of crushed walnuts, and these were already crushed, so I just poured them right in. Now I added my candied fruit from the day before, and this took a really long time to separate them because they clumped together in clusters. But I stirred them very well and made sure that they were well separated, because I didn't want giant clumps. I wanted them all to be evenly mixed all the ingredients evenly distributed. Alright, so here we go with the cake. This is a 1/2 cup grapeseed oil. And I was using 1/4 cup, but that was a 1/2 cup total. Date nectar, 2 tablespoons. And I just used a regular spoon. Doesn't have to be exact. You want to get every speck of date nectar though, it's precious. Very tasty. A splash of vanilla. And 3/4 cup date sugar. Alright, use the electronic mixer, or if you have a whisk, if you're doing it by hand. And we're going to put this on time lapse to save some of your time. But this is nice and blended until it's very, very creamy. And then we're adding 3/4 cup agave. Yes, that's quite a lot of sweetener. But it's cake, so what do you expect? It's still going to be very healthy. Unlike those other cakes. Let this mix away in the mixer until it gets nice and soft and creamy. Wow, look at that, getting nice and caramely and smooth. Very pleased with how this came out. Also, I had a fruitcake connoisseur try this, and they were raving over it. I should include some of their screenshots. Someone who loves fruitcake, I made this for. And gave it to them because this makes about 3 small fruitcakes. So that was 1/4 cup chickpea flour and 1/4 cup rye flour. And we're going to add a pinch of clove very carefully, just a little pinch. And a little bit more than a pinch of ground ginger. I probably put double the amount of ginger than I put clove. But really, I couldn't taste either. Just wanted to give it a little bit of a spice. And then time lapse of the electronic mixer. Wow, that was quick. Now we're going to gradually add 1 cup of spelt flour. Add a little bit at a time and then let it mix up. And then add the rest. Alright, when it's nice and fluffy and buttery smooth, we're going to take it out and it's ready to mix with our fruit. We're almost ready for the cake. Here we go, right into the fruit and nuts. And we're going to mix this thoroughly so that gently fold it in so that it's evenly coating every little piece of fruit. Ideally. It's mostly going to be fruit. It's not going to look very much like cake yet, but it turned out very well. Alright, when it's nice and combined, we're ready to put it into the dish, and I'm using these. You can bake them and also freeze them, and I just put a piece of parchment paper in and loaded it up with the fruitcake batter. Now I push these into the corners and push these down really firmly to make sure there weren't any little pockets. And also I tried to get the top as smooth as possible, but you could put something flat on the top. You could oil it and then push down to make it really smooth. I kept these a little bit rustic. Get it all packed in there. Now those were the 2 containers I used, and the rest of them I just put in the bottom of a bread loaf pan, and it worked out just perfectly. So I also put another second loaf pan in the bottom there, filled with water. And I baked these on 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 3.5 hours. So I checked them a minute ago at 3 hours, and then I left them in for the other half hour. And there's the third one. It's just a partial one, but I kept that one and ate it. And there you have it. Those ones are done. Now when they are completely cooled down, which it does take forever for them to cool, but if you're patient, or the next day, you can pull them right out of the container with the parchment paper very easily, just like this. Let's take a closer look at this. Wow, there's so much nutrition in this cake. Now look at the bottom. Turned out very well. What do you think? Comment below. Are you going to try to make this? Yes. Let's get a good shot. No, that's not a good shot. This is the fruitcake I made. Trying it now. The Brazil nuts. Oh, my tea is almost done. This is really good. I don't like the other fruit cakes because of those weird candied fruit, but I made my own candied fruit without chemicals. So this is actually like a superpower energy bar. Alkaline equals energy. If you're eating something that says it's supposed to give you energy and it's acid, then it's lying. They probably don't even know. But calories do not equal energy. Electricity equals energy. So we're shifting our thinking. This is really good. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate all the new subscribers recently and all of your comments. Thank you so much. And if you're really serious about going alkaline and you're having a hard time doing it, check the link in the description. There's a link you can schedule a free consultation with me, and I have a 12-week transformation program that you can check out to change your health and change your life completely. Now that's not for everyone, but if that's for you, I'll see you there and see you in the next video. Have an amazing day on purpose. Peace.